Busan UN Week, Busan Global City Forum, the Eurasia City Diplomacy, Development Cooperation Forum, and the Busan World Citizen Festival are all symbols of Busan's soft power, reinforcing the brand of Busan as a city of global peace. BFM 부산영어방송 is committed to making Busan a city where citizens can comfortably communicate in English and thrive in competition with the world. Together with the Busan Global City Foundation, we are building a global hub city where citizens can be happy.
오늘 부산 지역 미세먼지 농도
Air quality in Busan is currently rated bad.
High fine dust concentrations are
Taking a look
expected
at the
today.
fine dust level is getting higher. So, this is what we can do to protect ourselves from the growing level of fine dust. First, check out the fine dust level before you go out and make sure to wear a mask when the fine dust level is high. Also, don't forget to wash your hands when you return home. Even if the fine dust is not visible, it doesn't mean your hands are clean enough. Lastly, follow the alternate no driving system to reduce the fine dust from cars. These are very simple yet powerful ways to protect ourselves from the fine dust. Let's all take part in this campaign and stay healthy. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, 부산영어방송.
김밥가게 박 사장님도 문구점 김 사장님도 우리 부산의 경제를 움직이는 사람들. 우리 동네 작은 가게로 향하는 발걸음이 우리 부산의 경제를 키워가는 한 걸음입니다. 부산 방송광고 발전 협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
One of my favorite childhood memories was running through the backyard with the sprinklers on. I really love that memory, and I still hang on to that memory, especially like during summer days. Another fond memory, my dad pushing me on my bike with me screaming at him like, "Don't let go, Dad! 놓지 마!" And then realizing he already had. And one last one, if you'll indulge within me, roller skating all around my neighborhood. I mean, those were the days, were they not? I'm Katherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, May 5th, here on BEFM, 부산영어방송. And yes, we are live. Good morning, wavers. Bright and early. It is Monday. It's also Children's Day. So happy Children's Day to all the children out there and to the child in all of us. I know most of us are adults, but sometimes I feel like we are so childlike, aren't we? Yes, welcome to the program. 네, 오늘 라이브 방송입니다. So what does it mean to be a child? And also, what does it look like to be a child these days? And the answer probably differs wildly between when we were kids and, kids nowadays, whether you have your own kids or just kids around us in society. So we know South Koreans as some of the most hardworking or overworked people in the world. And unfortunately, that is no different for children. So according to a survey by the Korea Teachers and Educational Workers Union, over 60% of children in grades 4 through 6, 4학년에서 6학년, they had only under 2 hours to play. Okay, so less than 2 hours, basically. Almost 16% said that they have less than an hour of playtime. And of course, they spend a lot of their time studying. 30% of all sixth graders say they come home at or after 8 p.m. and 4%, at 10 p.m. or after. Wow. So naturally, their biggest concern was academics or studying at 69%, their number one concern, followed by relationships with friends, third, their appearance, and fourth, getting bullied. So kids were also concerned with larger social issues, including things like war, the low birth rate, climate change, and jobs. These are kids we're talking about. And of course, we want our kids, we want them to be well aware of what's going on in the world and, working hard to a certain extent. But, shouldn't they be allowed to be kids is kind of the question I want to throw out there. And at least for today, the kids out there, that you can get some playtime. 오늘은 학습지 공부시키지 마세요, 부모님들. 오늘은 좀 쉬게 해주세요. I know it's very tempting because you feel like you have the day off and you feel like, 오늘 하루 더 조금 했으면 좋겠다. 하지만 오늘은 푹 쉬게 했으면 좋겠습니다. Because, even our PD님, 예지 PD님도, she was complaining, saying, 저도 아이라고 계속 막 찡을대요, 자꾸. 그런데 PD님도 저도 실례요. 저는 아직 애인데요. 라고 주장을 하지만, we all know that she's not a baby, but sometimes she acts like a baby. 네, 조금 그래요. 네, 귀여워요. So here we go. Yes, so, text topic time. Share with us your favorite childhood memories. 내 어린 시절 혹은 어린이날 가장 즐거웠던 추억 공유해 주세요. By the way, 저 미국에서 약간 억울한 거. Children's Day가 따로 없어요. Like technically there kind of is, but there really isn't. And I know people say, 미국은 everyday Children's Day 아니에요. 학원도 안 가고 공부도 안 하고. 그렇지는 않지만, however, there is no real Children's Day. However, I do have fond memories. 제가 이미 얘기했잖아요. Just playing in my backyard, going roller skating, riding my bike, going out with my friends. 정말 그런 기억들이 많아요. So I want to hear about your favorite childhood memories. Send in your opinion, your thoughts to BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. So go to the YouTube platform, type in BEFM, 부산영어방송, to join the subscribers. I think we have over 132,000. If I'm not mistaken. And you can jump into our live chat and join the other waivers in our very lively chat room right now. Also, pound 9050, shop 9050, that's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free through our Kakao Talk channel. By the way, feel free to send in your messages, your opinion. Also, if you have photos, if you send in your photo, by the way, you're giving us implicit permission to post on our YouTube page. So just letting you know. Also, you can listen to our program in so many different ways these days. If you're in Busan on the radio, 90.5 or 103.3 FM. Like I said, we are streaming live today on YouTube. You can watch again at your leisure. You are... Also, you can listen to us on the BFM app or the Papang app. It is Monday, and aside from the fact that Haley is back, she's back from vacation, we have Cultural Interlude with Michael Kang. That's coming up in hour number 1. We have News in Depth with Claire, and for a special interview, aside from it all, being Children's Day, it's also time to mark Buddha's birthday. So we are going to talk to a professor of Buddhist studies and talk about Buddha's message, spreading peace in times of war. We're at a time in modern history where there is a lot of conflict, we'll say, whether it's with other countries, even conflict within ourselves, I think. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up in hour number 2. And I'll be back with news overview. It is now 7:07. This is News Overview. DP considering impeaching Supreme Court Chief Justice. The opposition Democratic Party, or DP, has called for a hearing, a parliamentary investigation, and a special counsel probe into Supreme Court Chief Justice Cho Hee-jae, and is even considering impeachment over the ruling on its presidential candidate Lee Jae-myung. Nearly 20 million SKT members signed up for Use and Protection Service. SK Telecom said that nearly 20 million subscribers have signed up for its Use and Protection Service following a large-scale data breach. Two workers dead inside manhole in Jeonju factory. 2 workers died and 3 others were hospitalized after inhaling toxic gas inside a manhole at a paper mill in Jeonju yesterday. Trump's 25% tariffs on foreign car parts come into force. A 25% import tax on engines, transmissions, and other key car parts has come into force in the U.S. as of Saturday local time, causing concerns for both the short and long-term effects on the South Korean auto industry. China's Xi Jinping to visit Russia. Chinese President Xi Jinping will pay an official state visit to Russia from May 7th through 10th, the Kremlin confirmed Sunday local time, in time for the Victory Day parade in Moscow. And this was News Overview. It's now time for Now in Busan. We have Seojin in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm doing great. Happy Children's Day.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy
birthday.
No, happy Children's
Thank
Day
you.
for me.
I'm a child. Thank you. No, just kidding. Hey, so we're talking about fondest childhood memories. Do you have one that you can share?
That was a thought-provoking question, and I tried to recall all the most memorable memories while you're doing your segment.
Yes.
And one thing that occurs to me that my grandparents took me to the 어린이 대공원, and I remember my grandfather hold my hands and just show me around and like bought me some balloons, air balloons, and I don't remember specifically what I did, but I remember I just was holding his hands and just walking down the street, and that was just
the memory of like the warmth of that relationship. And sometimes I think that's what it comes down to. Like, it's not like you don't necessarily remember every detail of every outing or of every event, but you remember the feeling of it, right?
I remember whom I was with.
Yes.
And this affection.
Of
that
course.
He was giving me. Yeah.
Aw, what a sweet, sweet memory. Thank you for sharing.
Nice.
We are going to jump into our first story. So I hear that there was a heartfelt moment in Busan recently. So tell us about this.
Yes, just ahead of Children's Day, one father quietly left a box outside a police station in Busan. It happened around 10:30 in the morning on May 3rd in front of Dokcheon Police Outpost in Bukgu. A man approached quietly and placed the box down and walked away quickly. Inside that box, a handwritten letter, a box of instant noodles, and 35 1,001 bills, and a children's windbreaker jacket.
Ah, yes. So that's really touching. What did the letter say, though?
The man introduced himself as a father of 3. He shared that his oldest child has a disability and that they are part of low-income household receiving a public assistance.
Yes.
And he wrote that he had spent a month collecting recyclable materials, mostly paper, to save up what little he could. With that money, he originally wanted to buy snacks, but realized it wasn't enough. So instead, he bought noodles, jacket, and enclosed what was left in cash, hoping the child could at least enjoy meals like a snack, meals like a chicken.
And so, okay, so the reason I pause is like, I want this to kind of sink in. This is coming from a dad who is probably struggling as it is, but he wanted to share what he had with other people. That is really selfless generosity.
It is indeed. And police say it isn't the first time. He's been donating anonymously on every Children's Day and on Christmas for the past 12 times.
So, has everything been delivered? Where was it delivered?
The item will be sent to the local community following his wishes, so they could be passed on a child in need.
So what a great story. I mean, this small act of kindness, it is now being spread. You call it paying it forward. So I certainly hope that we can take a page out of his book, right?
Yeah.
Some small act that we can bestow upon others. Yeah. So thanks for sharing that. So it is, of course, Children's Day. So I'm sure there is a lot going on. It's still part of this long weekend, right?
Right. So with a long weekend here in Korea,
yes,
Busan is bursting with fun, family-friendly activities and events, especially for kids. Let's start with the big one, a 52nd annual Children's Day celebration at the Busan Cinema Center, kicking off at 10 a.m. today.
Yes.
There'll be a lot going on, science magic shows, a global culture fair where kids can explore traditions from different countries, and a K-pop dance contest for children.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So anything else happening around the city?
I introduced it a couple of days ago, but at Let's Run Park Busan Gyeongnam, the Children's Let's Play Festival kicked off yesterday and will run through today. There will be over 25 interactive booths and shows, including a sing-along with beloved animated characters. Entry is free too, which is lovely. And for kids with a bit of adventurous streak, the Korean Navy is opening up its Busan base. Visitor can step aboard the Cheonwang Bongham, 4,900-ton landing ship, and try on Navy uniforms and enjoy live music, martial arts demonstrations, and giveaways.
Oh, wow. I'm sure the kids are going to have a blast doing that. What about any types of museums or things that, kids can turn to learn? Because, parents, we love going on outings, but it's always like, what can we teach the kids? 뭔가 배워야 되잖아요. 네.
Yeah. The Busan National Science Museum is running the 뚝딱 Family Challenge until tomorrow. Kids can take on fun science tasks like building egg-drop contraptions, launching water rockets, or crafting string art with nails and thread. Over the Busan Museum from 1 to 5 p.m. as well, families can enjoy film screenings, an art picnic inspired by local heritage, and a chance to make their own mirrors. There's also a photo booth at just set up for occasion.
Yes. Photo booths are always very popular, right? So
in South Korea,
sounds like a lot of fun. All right. Speaking of fun events, it's definitely like, with the weather, it's like festival season. So it's picking up in Busan, isn't it?
Right. One of Busan's most beloved local festival is back. A 23rd 광안리어방축제 Festival will take place from May 9th and 11th along 광안리 Beach and Suyang Historic Park.
Yes. So it is the Allbang Festival.
Yes.
And
this year's event is extra special as it celebrates a 30th anniversary of Suyanggu office. And this year's festival combines tradition and modern charm for a richer cultural experience.
And by the way, I've been to this festival. It's so much fun. But for those who haven't been, can you explain what is Allbang?
Allbang refers to a traditional fishing guilds of the past.
Okay.
And this festival brings heritage to life. There will be newly created musical titled Allbang, reenacting the origins of these fishing communities.
Yes.
You also see a street parade by the Gyeongsang Left Naval Commander's March and a folk village recreated with traditional Navy camps and coastal life settings.
Yes. So it's a bit of living history, correct?
Yeah, one key program, Sea of Light, uses light installations to reflect Suyang's ocean and nature.
Yes.
And Allbang food stalls known as pocha are back too. But this year, you can scan QR codes and pay by card, no longer waiting in line with cash.
I see. Very interesting. Any other changes this year?
The festival is taking a greener turn. Food booths will be using reusable containers. Traditional style houses like choga with thatched roofs and kiwa with tiled roofs will be set up throughout the venue.
Yes.
And thanks to newly added nighttime lighting, you can enjoy the festival even after dark.
Ooh, so that should be special because I went during the daytime. It was still a lot of fun. There were so many activities to be had. So if you haven't been, I highly recommend it to any visitors or citizens of Busan. All right, so what else should we be on the lookout for this month?
The 18th Busan Port Festival on May 30th and 31st. It will be held at the International Ferry Terminal,
Yes.
the Northport Waterfront Park, and the National Maritime Museum of Korea in Yeongdo. The festival celebrates the heritage of Busan Port,
Right?
but this year with K-pop and AI.
Oh.
On the morning of the 30th, the conference at the Wyndham Grand Busan will explore how artificial intelligence is shaping the future of the music industry. Experts from all over will be sharing insight.
Yes, and so let's talk about the entertainment. Who are we expecting? The lineup.
That evening, the highlight of the festival, a K-pop concert and a fireworks display will take place at the outdoor car park of Busan Port International Passenger Terminal. The lineup is Super Junior D&E, CN Blue, and Flying, ITZY, and rising stars like Kyungso, Dori, and Jo Jae-ji.
So the lineup's pretty huge.
And on the 31st, it continues boat tours, a themed global port park, and a K-pop cover dance. All the details are Busan 축제조직위원회 website. Check it out.
So it sounds like a lot of fun. And then, of course, it's right here in Busan. Go check it out. Well, thank you for all the updates. And, of course, we'll check in with you tomorrow.
No
Thank you,
worries.
Sajin.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to take a short song break. So here it is. This is 보물 by 자전거 단 풍경.
술래잡기 고무줄놀이 말뚝박기 막가기 말타기 놀다 보면 하루는 너무나 짧아
아침에 눈뜨면 마을 앞 공터에 모여 매일 만나는 그 친구들 비싸고 멋진 장난감 하나 없어도 하루 종일 재미있었어 좁은 골목길 나지막한 뒷산 언덕도 매일 새로운 그 놀이터 개울에 빠져 하나뿐인 옷을 버려도 깔깔대며 서로 웃었지
어색한 표정에 단체 사진 속에는 잊지 못할 내 어린 날 그 보물들
술래잡기 고무줄놀이 말뚝박기 망가기 말타기 놀다 보면 하루는 너무나 짧아
저 골목길 나지막한 뒷산 언덕도 매일 새로운 큰 놀이터 겨울에 빠져 하나뿐인 옷을 버려도 깔깔대며 서로 웃었지
술래잡기 고무줄놀이 말뚝박기 막가기 말타기 놀다 보면 하루는 너무나 짧아 술래잡기 고무줄놀이
단체 사진 속에는
막가기 말타기 놀다 보면 하루는
내 어린 날
It is now 7:22. Here is your traffic report. There has been an accident on the Dongsu overpass going out of the city right near Hakjang ramp. So please be aware of that area. Also, looking slow on Mandakdero from Binam to Mandak intersection. And a bit of congestion on Jungangdero from Yangjung intersection to Songgong three-way intersection. As for the weather, currently 13 degrees Celsius under partially cloudy skies here in Busan, but in Santam, it's looking really nice, at least for right now. Daytime high will go up a couple degrees, but there is rain forecast starting later on in the evening. Looking at the weather nationwide, cloudy skies with rain forecast on this Children's Day. It is also Ipa, one of the 24 solar cycles that signals the beginning, can you believe it, of summer. So this was your traffic and weather. It is time for top stories, and guess who I found? Strolling,
roaming the
aimlessly,
halls,
roaming the
knocking on the door.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Oh,
I'm
you
back.
look so you look a little tanner.
I think I am. I think I'm tanner. It was
From
definitely sunny.
Germany?
It was sunny in Germany. You guys, it was sunny in Germany.
I was like just so jealous, clicking on the
on
the like
the
button,
likes, yeah,
on the likes,
on my socials.
like
yes.
living vicariously through Haley. How was your vacation?
It was wonderful, but I did honestly, this isn't like lip service.
Yes.
I really did miss you guys, and I wanted to drop in on the YouTube chat and say hi.
The time
but
difference.
It was like 1 a.m. and after
the one day you
walking-
did, we're like, what? Enjoy your vacation. What are you doing?
Yeah. But then,
Yes.
after walking 30, 40,000 steps per day, I just conked out at around 10, 11.
Yeah.
But it's so nice to be back.
Right. What was my first question to you, though?
Oh,
Can we share on air?
yeah. Did I have any romantic
I know, it's
encounters? Did I see any attractive German men?
This was the question.
She was like,
Did you meet
let me
anyone?"
live vicariously. I'm like, well, I'm back, aren't I? I'm back on time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, fondest childhood memories, any that you can share?
Yeah, a couple of them. So my family used to live right across the street from a major amusement park, and my parents would take us there, but they didn't want to get on the rides because, parents.
Yeah.
So they would line up, they would stand in line, and then my sister and I would go on a ride, and we'd go, and then they'd trade spots with us. They were towards the beginning of the line, and then they'd go to another ride, and we'd be like, well, I want to ride that. And then they'd go there, stand in line. So they were just our line holders.
Yes.
Oh, the sacrifices of parents.
Of course.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
there to save the spot.
Yeah, they're just spot
Yes.
holders.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
But great parents, of
Right,
course.
right.
Yes. We're going to dive into the latest with the presidential election. So both major parties, they have their candidates, but they are facing their own uncertainties. So a lot happened while you were gone.
A lot happened.
A lot happened. So we're going to have to walk us through what's the situation with the People Power Party first.
Right. So the former labor minister, Kim Moon-soo, he has been elected as the ruling People Power Party, or the PPP's official candidate. So he beat former party leader Han Dong-un 56.53% to 43.47%. So Kim Moon-soo has been the front runner ever since former President Yoon Suk-yeol was impeached, and Kim beat Han in both the general public and the party member votes, especially in the party member votes by a 20% margin. And in his acceptance speech, Kim Moon-soo said he will win even if that involves his body shattering into pieces, and will work with anyone if that can stop Democratic Party's Lee Jae-myung from taking office.
Yes. So what can you tell us about Kim Moon-soo?
Right. So he actually has a quite interesting political career. So he comes from a labor background, which in the conservative People Power Party you don't often see happening. So he led the labor movements in the 70s through the 80s. He was nicknamed the asphalt right-winger, asphalt 우파, as asphalt, referring to the sit-ins and the rallies out on the roads.
Yes.
So it's quite a bit of a rare combination, but his political affiliation turned in the early 90s, kind of in line with the fall of the Soviet Union. He is a seasoned politician, having served 3 terms as a lawmaker in the People Power Party's previous iterations,
yes,
and also 2-term governor of Gyeonggi Province. So currently he is seen as a strong right-winger. He refused to apologize for the former president's martial law declaration in kind of a bit of a very telling moment, televised as he was the sole cabinet member to not bow his head in apology during a parliamentary hearing.
I see. But the ruling party or the broader right still has a major figure who has finally thrown his hat into the race.
He has, so that would be former Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, who is not officially in the party, but he has the support of many of the pro-Yoon members within the PPP. So Han Duck-soo, he is extending an olive branch, but we don't know who's gonna take it or who's gonna bend first.
Yes.
So Han sent his message of congratulations to Kim Moon-soo and the entire party for their good-willed and fair competition.
Yes.
Han Duck-soo also expressed his willingness to cooperate and move beyond division towards the future. And he said he'll let the Central Party decide on any of the rules for the merger. And the People Power Party will actually launch the group or consultative body that will decide on the rules and grounds for the merger as early as today.
Yes, indeed. So now we're going to move on to the opposition Democratic Party and its candidate Lee Jae-myung.
Right. So last week, the uncertainty here is whether he will be eligible to run.
Yes.
So because last week the Supreme Court sent back his election law violation case with basically kind of a guilty verdict interpretation. That wasn't a ruling, but it's basically sending a message to the lower courts to overturn that decision. So the first hearing for this new case now has been scheduled for May 15th at the Seoul High Court under Judge Lee Jae-kwon. It's quite an expedited schedule, but because campaigning starts on May 12th, and of course that's going to be on a tight schedule, it's unclear whether Lee Jae-myung will attend his own hearing.
I see. Well, speaking of schedules, when might this ruling come down? That's like a big question mark right now. That's
that is
of much attention.
Huge factor because a lot of gray area because if or when the finalized guilty verdict comes down, and if that's anything above a 1 million won fine or any sort of a prison sentence, then Lee would be disqualified from running for office.
Right.
So will the court make its ruling before the June 3rd election? That is the first and the biggest question.
Sure.
Well, pundits say that depends on whether Lee Jae-myung accepts the summons, 소환장 송달, because if it's not received in due time, the entire proceeding may be delayed.
I see. And then there's the whole issue of presidential immunity.
That's right. So under the Constitution, Article 84, the president is not subject to criminal prosecution except in cases of insurrection or treason.
Yes.
But this is, again, a gray area because does this exception cover being charged, so being pressed charges, 기소, or keeping the statute of limitation on an open case, 공소유지.
Yes.
So given these gray areas, the Democratic Party has introduced a series of bills that would suspend ongoing criminal trials for a president-elect.
I see. So for now, we're going to leave politics there, and we're going to go to the ongoing SKTSIM, the SIM issue, because there are so many questions as to what people should do in order to protect their personal information. We went over a little bit, but we need more information.
Right. So the Personal Information Protection Committee, the PIPC, says a safe and convenient way to protect your information if you are affected is to switch your U or E SIM card.
Okay.
So that's because even if, say, a third party has copied your old U SIM or SIM card and put that into a different device, as long as you have a new SIM card, they can't use that different device to, because it's basically null and void. It's an old SIM card.
Okay.
Other methods include, but not necessarily recommended, but other methods are changing your telecom provider or changing your phone number.
Okay.
And SKT says if users have USIM protection service, which they're offering for free, then their information is safe. And this is a big question. Will getting a new phone help? No, because you just have a different exterior, but the brain, quote unquote, the SIM card is still the same, then that information can still be used.
Okay.
By the way, someone could copy your phone using the SIM information, but apparently they cannot use that to call or text on that particular different phone, nor use that information to take money out of your accounts. This is according to a representative from SKT. So basically their message is that all the critical information that one would assume, including your text messages and sensitive information like banking, that's not covered on your SIM card.
I see.
It's usually your contacts and photos sometimes.
Yes.
So SKT says that for people who went abroad during this long weekend without being able to get a new SIM card, they will guarantee any compensations in cases of damages. However, though, please be aware of smishing. There are some text message scams going on with unknown links saying that your used SIM card has arrived with the link. SKT has not sent these yet, and the legitimate messages from the telecom provider will come under the 114 phone number.
Oh, great to know. So once again, if it doesn't come through the 114, the 114 number, then disregard, basically, for now. And the government has called on SKT to suspend taking in any new users, creating new accounts until they get this figured out.
That's right, which, from consumers' perspective, right, because they have a used SIM shortage going on right now, rather than selling new accounts, they need to take care of what's going on currently. However, let's look at it from a small business standpoint, because those SKT 대리점, the franchises, the cell phone stores, they are also small businesses, not directly run under the corporation, so they're not 직영점. So what happens is that these smaller businesses, franchises, get 1,000 won per case for switching the new SIM card. So let's say that they work all day, switch out 200 cases per day. They've only made 200,000 won.
Okay.
But then take out any wages or utilities. And because, again, they cannot open new contracts or accounts, they're losing money.
Sure.
So some of them have already closed their doors because they just cannot make ends meet. So again, this is something that SKT has to consider in a long list of issues that it will have to address.
Yes, indeed. So thank you for giving us the lowdown on what's going on with that story. For a final story, we're going to talk about Australia. Australia has reelected its prime minister in a landslide vote.
Right. So center-left Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has secured a second term in office in Australia. This is actually quite rare in the country for an incumbent to return. There's been something called an incumbent curse. So Albanese is actually the first Prime Minister to win this back-to-back control in office for the first time in 20 years.
Yes, and so this pattern of more, I guess, progressive governments beating the odds in elections.
That's been noted, right?
Yes,
so I know you guys covered the Canadian elections last week. A lot of British Commonwealth countries, 영연방 국가, Canada, Australia, seeing similar patterns.
Right.
In Canada, Mark Carney being re-elected to office despite months of his Liberal Party trailing behind the Conservatives in polls. So what's the common factor? Donald Trump. So the U.S. factor and the tariffs, because the ongoing threat to trade policy and even alliance that's undermined Australia's trust in the United States.
Sure.
So, right, and voters have kind of swung to the left. Interestingly, though, we have seen a complete opposite pattern in the British local elections as the radical right Reform UK party has made gains. And that's because its leader, Nigel Farage, is a big friend of Donald Trump. So that may be another Trump factor in the opposite way.
Indeed, indeed. So we're going to call it a wrap for the news in hour number 1. But of course, Wagga Wagga coming up in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right. Time for our next song break. So here is a song request from William in honor of Haley's return. Here is Welcome Back from by John Sebastian.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Back here where we need ya. Back here where we need ya. Yeah, we tease him a lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. 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 Was there something that made you come back again? And what could ever lead you? What could ever lead you? Back here where we need you. Back here where we need you. Yeah, we tease him a lot, cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back. And I know what a scene you were learning in. Was there something that made you come back again? And what could ever lead you? What could ever lead you? Back here where we need you. Back here where we need you. Yeah, we tease him a lot, cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back. Yeah, we tease him a lot. Welcome back, cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back, welcome back. Yeah, we tease him a lot, cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
All right, welcome back, everybody. For our text topic, I want to read some of your responses. By the way, if you're joining us right now, we are live on BFM on Morning Wave in Busan. And by the way, it is Children's Day. So text topic today, favorite childhood memory. Benny saying this, to play outdoors. And the reason, in the Philippines, we love playing outdoors without any gadgets. And Benny is relatively young, so I'm thinking not too long ago maybe you were playing outdoors. Yes. But I also, looking back on my memories, playing outdoors with your friends, that was like the best, right? And then Souvenir says this, 지금은 사라진 성지곡 수원지 놀이동산에서 오픈할 때 가서 마감 때까지 점심도 안 먹고 미친 듯이 놀이기구 탄 게 기억이 강렬합니다. Oh, so he talks about a certain theme park. Apparently it's closed now, but he would go as soon as it opened and stay until they closed down. He would even skip lunch and ride all the rides. And so fond memories of that. 그거 Viking and all the other rides, are you good on all the rides? Apparently, if you went from opening to closing, you had no problem with all the scary rides. And TV Jerry, Olivia, says 저는 부모님께 어린이날 선물을 한 번도 받아본 적이 없어서 6학년 때 제가 케이크 사서 초 불면서 울었던 기억이 있어요. That's kind of sad. What happened? 왜 안 받았을까요? So that's kind of a sad story. So what happened? I don't know. Hey, but I feel like there's a term, kidult, meaning kid plus adult. There's a kidult in all of us, right? And so wishing everybody a happy Children's Day, because there's definitely a kid in you. But we're going to be back with Cultural Interlude in just a moment. It is time for Cultural Interlude. And guess who's back from Spain? Minam. Michael is here. Woo!
Buenos días, amigos.
Hola, ¿cómo está? Miguel.
Bien. ¿Y tú?
Bien. That's the extent. Don't say anymore because I don't remember anything I learned in Spanish.
I don't remember anything
I remember
at all.
certain words like cocina.
And
it like
means
tía and
food,
tío,
right?
like kitchen or something.
Yeah, kitchen, right?
I don't know. Comida is food.
Comida.
And then like
sí.
tía is like
claro
auntie.
que sí.
Yeah,
Bueno,
claro,
bueno.
Sí. And then I remember, I think last week or the week before, I called you Miguel, and everybody's like, "Who's Miguel?"
Miguel, yeah.
And I'm like Miguel is
Yeah,
Michael.
apparently the Spanish people don't understand the term Michael. Like they would like write down their like I don't know receipt or something.
Right.
Like they would say Marco.
Marco.
It
But
does
that's
sound
like Mark,
a lot
right?
like yeah.
그거는 마크고.
네.
예,
But it does
Miguel.
sound a lot,
Miguel is,
lot like Marco.
Michael.
But Miguel is for Michael, yeah.
I have a question. I read a very sad message right now.
Yeah.
Do you have one to brighten our mood, like a fond
Yeah.
childhood memory?
I would love to.
Yes.
Like I remember the days when we did not have any cell phones. And I think
that's the best.
That's the best because
Yes.
like back then without the cell phones like you had to go out there and look for stuff to entertain yourself, you know what I mean?
Even with rocks,
like
right?
exactly. Like the rock would be interesting. Like anything that you run into like has a, you know, it's interesting. So like what I would do, I used to live in the countryside and there would always be mud puddles around, I don't know, like
Mud
during
puddles?
yeah, like the summer seasons.
아 진짜
Yeah.
시골? 시골?
완전 시골. 저 강릉에 살았어요. I lived in 강릉.
강릉, that's real 시골.
Yeah, real 시골.
Yes.
And then like in the mud puddle, there would be like tadpoles living in there. And not just one or two like of them. It's like tens and like hundreds of them just living in there and just watching them for hours. That was my
That was your joy.
that was my big joy. Like
was your
you have
childhood.
no idea. I mean, it was like super awesome. I'm sure all of the kidults out there
They have
will
some kind of
understand
memory
me.
like that,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing. Welcome back.
Yeah.
So, what is our first story?
Yes. So today is May 5th, right? And we all know that in Korea, today is known for either Children's Day or for 부처님 오신 날, right?
Oh, yeah, for Buddhists out there, of course.
So it's also Buddha's birthday.
Yes.
In the U.S., however, at least for this year, it is the day of fashion's biggest night out. The 2025 Met Gala,
Oh,
which
it's
is
tonight?
it's today,
okay.
which is taking place in New York.
Okay.
In just a couple of hours, will be a gathering of the world's film, fashion, music, sports,
Yes.
politics, and social media under the big theme of fashion. Yeah.
Love it. I know about the Met Gala, and I'm sure many fashionistas out there that you've heard of it, and like you probably tune in to see the big, you know, red carpet event.
Yes.
So, but here, you know, maybe you've never heard of the Met Gala. So what exactly is it?
Yes, so it is true that it's less known here in Korea.
Yes.
But the Met Gala is the annual fundraising festival held for the benefit of the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute in Manhattan. It is popularly regarded as the world's most prestigious and glamorous fashion event.
Okay.
Invitations to the event is highly sought after. Personalities who are perceived to be culturally relevant to contemporary society amongst various professional spheres, including fashion, film, television, music, theater, and, you know, well, you have it, are invited to attend.
Like to be invited, that means, I've made it in whatever respective, field.
Exactly.
Right?
It's different from buying your own ticket, right?
Oh, definitely.
invited, yeah.
But speaking of price, how much is the entry?
I mean, that's the interesting question,
yes.
right?
How much? I'm curious.
Yes, it's very, very expensive. The entry price for one ticket is around 75,000 US dollars. So that's around how much? 9천만 원? Right?
Oh, 9천만
9천만
원
원?
to go to a party.
Yeah, that is like cheap, I guess.
Yes.
Affordable. But
Pocket
this is
change.
just to enter the event.
What if you want to sit down and eat?
Yeah, exactly. So if you want a table, it's a
Yeah.
whole different story.
얼마예요?
It will cost you around 300,000 USD. So that's
얼마요?
우,
한
4억, 5억,
4억 5천
5억
정도 되는 것 같은데.
그 정도 되는 것 같아요. So that's a lot of money.
아파트 하는 값인데요.
Yeah, and this is primarily the reason why it is actually one of the most notable sources of funding for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute.
Right.
So in 2019, it raised as much as $200 million in fundraising. So yeah, and you know why.
Yes.
Yeah, super expensive.
So, okay. It sounds expensive. We went over the prices now, but how did it get so like prestigious worldwide? Like, I mean, it became kind of like the it ticket. Right?
Yes, good question. So we have to talk a little bit about history. The Met Gala was first established in 1948. And when it did, it was simply one of many annual benefits held for New York charitable institutions. But since 1972, it earned its global prestige as it began to invite higher profile celebrities like Elizabeth Taylor, Andy Warhol, Elton John, Madonna, and others. So the event eventually earned its nickname, quote unquote, the Fashion Oscars, to reflect its global fame and prestige.
Right. And as Leslie points out, for many of like the top stars, like they don't really pay out of pocket. The fashion houses.
That's right. That's right.
Don't they pay for it?
It's either the business or the enterprise, the fashion brands. They pay for the table, they pay for the tickets, and they basically invite the celebrities for
And you
them.
might think, why? Well, think about it. Like if your dress from Dang Dang, if a celebrity is wearing your dress, you're getting all that PR.
Exactly.
So it's worth it, right?
It's worth it. It's way worth it.
So what's new for this year?
Yeah. So each year, the Met Gala picks a certain dress code for their guests, right?
Yes.
So this year, the dress code is, quote unquote, tailored for you, and it focuses on suits and menswear for, let's say, Black people. So it's a strong theme now.
Okay.
So the Met Gala is always accompanied by a fashion exhibit.
Okay.
So this year the exhibit is called Superfine Tailoring Black Style. So it focuses on certain keywords like Black dandyism and the styling of Black diasporic identity. So it's the first Met Gala exhibit in more than 20 years to focus exclusively on menswear, specifically Black style in menswear over the centuries from the 18th century to the modern period.
Right, because I remember, like, I can look back on certain years. Like, I remember that one year it was like, the theme was like camp. And I don't mean camp like going camping camp. Right, so there's a theme every year, and it's very, very, like, out there.
Yes.
So this year, that's the theme. So any celebs that, we should be aware of, that we might even recognize?
So to reflect this year's theme, Black luminaries like Pharrell Williams, we all know him.
Happy, that song, right?
Yes. Lewis Hamilton, Coleman Domingo, A$AP Rocky, and LeBron James will be the co-chairs of the event.
Okay.
As well as many other members of the host committee. And they are all mostly from the Black community. And we know why.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, Pharrell Williams, he is I believe the men's director for the famous Louis
Yes.
Deng.
Yes, Louis Deng.
Yeah, Louis Deng. Right.
And just one fun fact.
Yes.
So as you said, each year the Met Gala has different themes, right? And this is a big contrast from last year. So when Met Gala's theme was, last year Met Gala's theme was so-called Sleeping Beauties.
Yes.
So that year, the co-chairs were Zendaya, Jennifer Lopez, Chris Hemsworth, and Bad Bunny. And it's interesting that Chris Hemsworth made it to the co-chairs there, but
I know, I was like,
fashion. but you kind of guess and see why.
Why?
The co-chairs coincide with the theme every year.
I still don't get the Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm sure there's an interesting story behind him because Chris Hemsworth is a funny guy.
Yeah. No, he's absolutely
he's amazing.
Yes. And any Korean celebrities who were invited this year?
So as of now, we don't know yet, since the list of invites is highly classified.
Yes.
But there has been a number of Korean celebrities who showed up at the Met Gala in the past. There was, for example, in 2013, there was Psy, Lee Byung-hun, Kim Song-soo, Siwon, and Go So-young. And if we move to 2023, we had Jennie from Blackpink, Choi So-ra, Song Hye-kyo, and for last year we had Jennie from Blackpink again, and Stray Kids. So yeah, we do have a series of Korean celebrities coming to this Met Gala, and we'll find out pretty soon enough if there will be any more Korean celebrities coming tonight.
Right. I mean, right. I have a feeling like Jennie probably got an invite.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised because I think they are also ambassadors to a lot of fashion brands themselves. So I wouldn't be
우리
surprised.
예지 PD님 오늘 되게 개그 하시네요. 저희도 가죠. 셀프 초대로.
Yeah, it's only $300,000. I mean,
우리 한 테이블 모닝 웨이브 테이블.
exactly, just one, yeah, morning wave table.
피디님이 내주신대요.
Let's do this. I can,
4억밖에 안 해요.
just got back from Spain. I can,
Let's
manage
go.
the time zone.
Haley, are you ready to get back on a plane? Let's go. Yes, so definitely.
Yes, amazing.
We are ready to go. All right. So, any chance we can watch a live stream of the event?
Well, the event is a highly secretive affair. So there is a strict no photos or reporters policy in place. However, you might be able to watch the red carpet at the start of the event. So last year, Vogue put on a live stream of the red carpet, and it's likely that they will do the same this year. Or if you happen to be in New York at the moment, you can join the fans on Fifth Avenue or further east on Madison behind the barricades.
Yes. And so we're going to call it a wrap because we got to get on our jet.
Yes.
Right now.
Yeah, $300,000. Here we come.
Here we go. Met Gala. Morning Wave of Busan. You have your tuxedo ready, right?
Oh, yes, I do.
All right.
Oh, yes, I do. I'm always ready, always prepared.
We'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
And with that, let's get to our final song for hour number 1. This is 소녀 by 이문세.
내 곁에만 머물러요 떠나면 안 돼요 그리움 두고 머나먼 길 그대 무지개를 찾아올 순 없어요 노을 진 창가에 앉아 멀리 떠가는 구름을 보며 찾고 싶은 옛 생각들 하늘에 그려요 불어오는 차가운 바람 속에 그대 외로워 울지마 나 항상 그대 곁에 머물겠어요 떠나지 않아요 노을 진 창가에 앉아 멀리 떠가는 구름을 보며 찾고 싶은 옛 생각들 하늘에 그려요 불어오는 차가운 바람 속에 그대 외로워 울지마
기다리시나요? 이 캠페인은 대선공익재단과 BFM 부산영어방송이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
The weather is so nice today. I'm sure this won't be a big deal.
A 3-second long lapse in judgment can burn up an entire mountain, which will take 100 years to recover. We can protect these lush forests if you follow these guidelines. First, do not bring flammable materials to the mountains. Second, do not cook or camp in the mountains. Third, do not litter cigarette butts. Your small actions are the first step towards protecting the beautiful forest. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
Want to be a friend of BFM 부산영어방송? You can chat with BFM through our Kakao Talk service. You can share your messages and photos through Kakao Talk, and you can easily become BFM's Kakao friend by searching BFM through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM 부산영어방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call him.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
The time is now 8 o'clock. This is Morning Wave in Busan, and this is Spotlight News. DP considering impeaching Supreme Court Chief Justice. The opposition Democratic Party, or DP, has called for a hearing, a parliamentary investigation, and a special counsel probe into Supreme Court Chief Justice Cho Hee-jae, and is even considering impeachment over the ruling on its presidential candidate Lee Jae-myung. The party held an emergency meeting of its lawmakers yesterday, where it criticized the court's unprecedentedly fast ruling, with one lawmaker calling it the third insurrection. The Supreme Court last week overturned an appellate court's acquittal on Lee Jae-myung's election law violation charges and sent the case back for a retrial. Nearly 20 million SKT members signed up for USIM protection service. SK Telecom said that nearly 20 million subscribers have signed up for its USIM protection service following a large-scale data breach. It added that 956,000 have already replaced their universal subscriber identity module known as USIM chips, with an additional 7.6 million having booked USIM replacements online. In a further step to enhance security, SK Telecom will temporarily suspend new subscriber signups at its 2,600 retail stores nationwide starting today upon request from the government. Two workers dead inside manhole in Jeonju factory. Two workers died and 3 others were hospitalized after inhaling toxic gas inside a manhole at a paper mill in Jeonju yesterday. Authorities said they received a call that a worker fell into a manhole and lost consciousness from gas exposure. 2 workers were found collapsed near the manhole and were transported to a hospital in cardiac arrest but died. Authorities believe the accident occurred when one of the workers entered the 3-meter-deep manhole filled with paper sludge, prompting his colleagues to follow in an attempt to rescue him. Trump's 25% tariffs on foreign car parts come into force. A 25% import tax on engines, transmissions, and other key car parts has come into force in the U.S. as of Saturday local time, causing concerns for both the short and long-term effects on the South Korean auto industry. These tariffs were announced on March 26th. U.S. President Donald Trump did reduce the tariff amount for companies that have U.S. factories, but experts predict that the impact of the parts tariff will be greater than the tariffs on finished cars. While the tariffs are intended to push car makers to do more manufacturing in the U.S., experts say immediate expansions in the U.S. were likely to come at the expense of production elsewhere, ultimately leading to higher prices for consumers. China's Xi Jinping to visit Russia. Chinese President Xi Jinping will pay an official state visit to Russia from May 7th to 10th, the Kremlin confirmed Sunday local time, in time for the Victory Day parade in Moscow. The visit comes at the invitation of Russian President Vladimir Putin, with the leaders set to discuss further development of relations with comprehensive partnership and strategic interaction and sign a number of bilateral documents, the Kremlin added. Xi's visit to Russia will be his 3rd since the Kremlin sent troops into Ukraine in February 2022. The leaders of the 2 nations have developed strong personal ties that help boost the relations between Moscow and Beijing. And this was Spotlight News.
Good morning.
Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's time for 와글와글. That means Haley's back in the studio.
Hello again.
Yes, yes. So I hear you have some breaking news for us.
I do. So before we start, we do have to get a little bit serious. There's been a magnitude 3.7 earthquake that happened at 7:53, 59 seconds today off the waters 52 kilometers northwest of Taeanggung County in Chungnam Province. So if you are in the surrounding areas, you may feel the tremors or the ground motion. So please be careful.
Right. So details to follow on that earthquake. All right. So obviously, personal information protection has become a really hot button issue following the recent cell phone SIM card leaks. But now, a job search site has also experienced a huge information leak.
Right. So this is MON, which is a part-time job platform. It's experienced a hacking attack, which led to at least 20,000 pieces of personal information getting leaked. So the platform posted this on their website, saying that they detected abnormal hacking attempt and confirmed some 22,000 cases of names, cell phone numbers, and email addresses having leaked from their users' saved information. So Albumon's operator, which is Job Korea, it's reported the case to the relevant authorities, which they're supposed to do within 24 hours.
Right.
They've also blocked the account and the IP address from where the hack attack came.
Okay.
And it hasn't received any reports of secondary damages, at least as of now. The site is coming up with measures to compensate members whose information has been leaked, although we don't know what form that compensation will take. And also, this will be informed to the users individually. So they'll receive an email or text message.
Okay.
So the Personal Information Protection Committee, the PIPC, has checked whether the company has taken the necessary urgent measures, and we'll also look into the more fundamental issues on whether it followed the Personal Information Protection Act.
Yes. So anytime there is personal information leaked, we kind of cringe.
But then with so much of our information online, it is such a sensitive issue.
Indeed, indeed. So this next issue is about children, but kind of in the opposite side of Children's Day.
Right. So here's the thing, and I've already seen a couple of our messages on our YouTube waggling about this with our little hour number 2 preview. No kid zones, aka kid-free zones or kid-free businesses.
Yes.
So I know today I know some of our listeners are already in line at amusement parks with their children. But then if you are trying to go to these like hip places, the hot cafes, you do have to look whether you always do like the name of the business, 노키즈. I always do that whenever I take my nephew anywhere because you never know. So civic groups for children's rights held a rally last Friday criticizing these child-free areas. And by the way, child-free zones is the more common English expression, no kid zone Korean, but I'll use them interchangeably.
Okay.
So activists say that these so-called no kid zones show how people don't see children as equal beings. And that true equality needs to start from small, everyday, and trivial spaces.
I see.
The groups say that they will conduct a survey into these no-kid zones, what kind of businesses have them, and release that information on November 20th, which is the International Day for Children's Rights.
Well, this has always been a really hot, contentious issue, and both sides have valid points, right?
And I do want to throw this out to our waivers. What are your thoughts on no-kids zones?
Like, 노키즈존 어떻게 생각하세요?
네, 여러분의 노키즈존에 대한 생각, 노키즈존을 뭐 피해 다닌 적이 있다, 혹은 찾아다닌 적이 있다. Because sometimes, and I mean, you have kids. I have friends who have kids. I have a 개모임, which like a social group where
I was gonna say not like a dog.
No, not like woof woof, but like 개모임, where I think now 3 out of 5 of us have kids. So whenever we do have to meet, we're like, number 1, are you bringing your child? Number 2, well, in
Be
that
honest
case,
though. Are you happy when they say, "Oh, I'm not bringing my child"?
I like that my friends have free time. I like that they get the child care support they need.
Seriously.
And because they need a breath of fresh air. And I do offer to babysit. So in any case. So let's go back. What about the children? What do the kids think? A 3rd grader who participated in a rally said, and she was very wise, all adults were children once.
True.
And there can be noisy adults. Also very true. And
so true.
Noisy children. But she says that these child-free zones, they just kind of assume that all children will automatically be noisy.
And that's not true.
That's also not true. I've seen some very well-behaved kids. The groups also criticize the government for not responding to these practices. Thereby, they say the government then implicitly alleviates or encourages discrimination and this systematic exclusion based on age. So even they also added that even there are some welcome kids areas or yes kids zones, they kind of come off as being a privilege, that it shouldn't be a privilege,
like
but
a
it's
right?
a right. Exactly. So definitely a lot to think about. But then let's go to the opposite side.
Okay.
We've had plenty of businesses and even customers who have experienced trouble with noise, which, again, to be fair, there can be loud adults and children.
Oh, yeah.
But then also with kids running around, which I do have to say a little bit more common with children.
True.
Especially if there are hot dishes being served. Parents not putting the brakes on their children's behavior.
That's my pet peeve.
Which, usually when we do say no kid zones, it is parents who usually don't take care of their children.
Why are parents afraid to say no to their kids?
That's a great
like
question.
in public.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyways.
Right. In any case, so Jeju City, for one, they passed an ordinance 3 years ago to stop the spread of these no kids zones on the popular island. But again, it's to encourage businesses not to do this. There's no way to actually enforce it. Again, private businesses have the right to refuse service.
Yes. And we have some comments coming in hard and hot right now. So, for example, Leslie, who says, I am fine with having certain spaces where children have to be a certain age, such as expensive restaurants, the live theater. I've been to a ballet and symphony with small children, so we're constantly getting in and out of their seats. talking during performances.
I've had that experience at the symphony too. Yeah.
Ballet, where it's like
Right.
serious and like, they're performing and I want to catch like every single thing and like, yeah.
Right.
I believe in minimum ages for stuff like that. Whereas, like 고수 says, 노키즈존은 사실 불필요한 거 아닌가요? Like he's like, are they really like necessary?
Well, Souvenir님 added to it.
Yes.
If the parents do their job right,
Yes.
then they might be unnecessary.
That is also true.
Yeah.
And then William says, I think child-free zones should also apply to childish adults.
I agree.
I agree. Yes.
Oh, man.
There have been many situations, like, sitting next to us, like, I want to say, can you pipe it? Like, I know you're drunk, but keep it down. Like, I'm enjoying my dinner, too.
I know you're drunk.
Yeah, but keep it down. Right. Okay, let's move on.
Mm.
There will be a large-scale military parade in Washington, D.C. on June 14th. So let's talk about the significance of this date, though.
Right. So after several days of speculation and reports, the White House confirmed that a military parade will take place on June 14th, which is the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army.
Yes.
But also Donald Trump's birthday. Yeah.
His birthday.
It is his birthday. So the U.S. Army said it'll be a day-long festival with some 6,600 soldiers, 150 vehicles, and 50 aircraft. So a big parade. Actually, an idea for this goes back several years ago during Trump 1.0, the first term, where Donald Trump floated the idea of this parade. However, he had to scrap the idea because reports said it would have cost about $90 million.
$90 million?
$90 million.
Okay.
It's unclear because, again, inflation has happened quite a bit since between now and then. It's not clear what the price tag will be for the upcoming event. But again, reports are saying that it would likely cost tens of millions of dollars. Costs would include because you have to move military vehicles, equipment, aircraft, and even troops across the country to Washington, D.C. And not only moving them, but feeding them and housing them. So there are also concerns about infrastructure because Washington, D.C., some of the roads are very historic. They do go back quite a bit. But then if you have large military vehicles driving over them, what will happen? In any case, there's been a lot of interesting comments in terms of military naming, in this case, coming out from the Oval Office. Trump announced plans to rename Veterans Day, which is also Remembrance Day in the UK, as Victory Day for World War I to celebrate Americans' contributions to World War I. This may have been inspired by his visit to France back in 2017, where there was the Bastille Day or Bastille Day parade, and he said he wanted to top this parade. Additionally, Trump said he wants to name VE Day on May 8th as Victory Day for World War II. So there's a lot of naming attempts going on.
Yes, indeed. So for our last Wagged story, many of our listeners are traveling right now or maybe coming back, and this story could be of much interest for you, right?
Okay, so if you've been to any ports, train stations, ports, but especially airports, have you ever seen someone like buzzing, just running across the airport, trying
running?
to running,
literally
booking it to their gate?
Yeah.
It happens.
It happens.
Traffic happens. Something happens. Have you ever been that person? No.
Fortunately not.
Right. So Irish budget carrier Ryanair, they announced it's going to fine passengers
like 벌금
100 euros, which with the current with the currency rate, 160,000 won, that's about 16만 won, if they arrive at the boarding gate less than 40 minutes before the departure. 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Yeah, which is, it seems all right. The airline argues that it is necessary to improve punctuality, which means being on time. And they say that's because people who arrive at the last minute to board, they've caused flight delays and disrupted schedules.
Okay, so some people say, 40 minutes, I mean, that's a policy. May sound reasonable, but how are passengers taking this?
Let's put this into a larger scope because Ryanair's actually quite famous for a lot of additional charges.
Such as?
So they already have an existing 55 euro charge for passengers who don't check in online through the Ryanair app or website at least 2 hours before the flight. So if you want to check in person or just don't know how to operate the mobile check-in,
yes,
you're you have to pay 55 euros. One traveler was actually already fined 100 euros for having arrived 35 minutes before departure. So she was 5 minutes late due to unexpected traffic delays and said that there are circumstances beyond control. Actually, Ryanair, ironically, they paid 107 million euros in Spain recently, or actually fairly recently, as fines for abusive practices.
Oh, the airline.
The airline itself, because they imposed fees for carry-on luggage, charges for adjacent seats to accompany dependent person. So basically, if you have a family member with a disability, elderly, or children, and you want to get seats together,
you gotta pay
you
extra?
gotta pay. By the way, I remember covering a story about Ryanair where a passenger just ripped off the wheels to his suitcase because it was like a little bit over the regulation for carry-on and they were charging an exorbitant amount. And then also cost for printing a board pass at the terminal if not previously obtained. So they're charging to print. Here's one comment.
Yes.
Are you going to pay us if your flight is delayed due to your reasons?
Yeah, are you?
By the way, as someone who did sit in a flight that was delayed 2.5 hours.
Right.
Yeah, are you?
Are you?
I got there 3 hours before my flight, so.
Good question.
I don't know.
All right, well, we're going to call it a wrap for all the Woggly stories. Welcome back once again. We'll check in with you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
And with that, actually, I have a public service announcement that I do need to get out to you. So here it is. This is an emergency broadcast from BEFM. The Korea Meteorological Administration announced at 7:56 a.m. on May 5th, 2025, that there has been a magnitude 3.7 earthquake at 7:53 and 59 seconds on May 5th, 2025, off of waters 52 kilometers northwest of Taeangun County in Chungnam Province. Individuals in the surrounding areas of the earthquake-affected region may feel earthquake ground motions. Please be careful of your safety and tune into a public broadcasting channel to keep yourself updated on what's happening and what to do next. This was a message from the Korea Meteorological Administration. All right, so we are now going to get to our song break. This is Put Your Records On by Corinne Bailey.
Three little birds sat on my window, and they told me I don't need to worry. Summer came like cinnamon, so sweet. Little girls double dutch on the concrete. Maybe sometimes we got it wrong, but it's alright. The more things seem to change, the more they stay the same. Ooh, don't you hesitate. Girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans. I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow. Blue as the sky, sunburned and lonely, sipping tea in a bar by the roadside. Just relax, just relax. Don't you let those other boys fool you. Gotta love that Afro hairdo. Maybe sometimes we feel afraid, but it's alright. The more you stay the same, the more they seem to change. Don't you think it's strange? Girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans. I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow. Twas more than I could take. Pity for pity's sake. Some nights kept me awake. I thought that I was stronger. When you gonna realize that you don't even have to try any longer?
It's time for a special interview. We're living in a time where conflicts and wars have become this constant backdrop to our daily lives. And we talk about news of casualties and bombings and the destruction of homes and cities no longer shock us as, they once did. Adding to this, economic uncertainty and natural disasters like, recent wildfires further disturb our sense of stability. In the face of such unrelenting global turmoil, it becomes more important than ever to seek peace. And of course, if we had world peace, that would be fantastic, but we're talking about peace within ourselves. So today is also Buddha's birthday. I know we've been talking up Children's Day, but it is Buddha's birthday. So to preserve our well-being and hope, we turn to wisdom that can hopefully guide us toward inner calm and resilience. We have joining us Brian Summers, who's professor of Buddhist studies at Dongguk University. Let's say hi first. Hi, welcome to the program, Professor.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes. So today is indeed Buddha's birthday. So first of all, who was Buddha and what message did he try to share with the world?
Yeah, so basically we can say that Buddha was a prince, started out as a prince about maybe 2,500 years ago, or thereabouts, in northern India. And around the age of 29, he left his palace walls for the first time. And at that time, he shockingly observed, there are sick people and there are old people and there are dying people outside of the temple, outside of the palace. And so after having been shocked by that, he wanted to understand more deeply what is this suffering that I haven't experienced yet because I'm a prince, right? So around that time, he decided to give up his princely ways and became an ascetic. And started studying. So his teachings then became basically what we know now as the Four Noble Truths, which is suffering exists, suffering will come, especially from attachment. Suffering can go away, and there is a way to help that suffering be eased. So for truths, that way then is the Eightfold Path that he teaching us wisdom, morality, and meditation.
I see. Thank you for explaining the backdrop of Buddha. In times of what I just said in the intro, we have such widespread conflict and uncertainty. Which teachings do you think of Buddha can guide us right now? Even if we're, not Buddhists, there are certainly things that we can take notes from.
Yeah. So you said what can we do with widespread conflict and uncertainty? And when I hear conflict, I think compassion. Compassion can be applied to conflict when we feel this sort of misunderstanding for what's happening, particularly when we don't understand what other people are thinking and if they are supporting an opposing view. We want to use compassion in order to hopefully settle the conflict to some degree. And you also use the word uncertainty. So in this sense, I would say wisdom would be the teaching. So how can I better understand not only myself, but understand the world? What's going on? It's confusing. This is unprecedented times. So in short, I would say compassion for conflict and wisdom for uncertainty. But there's a lot to be unpacked there. Basically, we just want to better understand the reality of the situation. What's the truth?
Indeed, and if we can better understand people who maybe we don't agree with necessarily, right? I mean, how are we to agree with every single person on earth? That's not going to happen, obviously. And to have, as you say, compassion, even for, or maybe especially for those people whom we may have opposing views with, that would probably take away from some of the conflict in the world. So I definitely get what you're saying, Professor. Well, according to the teachings of the Buddha, how can we stay present in moments of crisis? So whether it's like, these bigger moments of crisis, we're talking about wars and whatnot, but even personal crisis, because everybody goes through these bouts of personal crisis as well, without being, overwhelmed by, pain or the feeling of like personal injustice. What would you say?
Such a good question, and it's not an easy question to answer, but I think basically if we can think about if there are three stages or three positions that we can live in, the first being this sort of safety stage or safety realm, the next being sort of pushing our safety bubble, so going into challenge. And then finally pushing even further, that would be like an overwhelm stage. And if we can kind of find the balance between safety and overwhelm to healthily challenge ourselves, I think that would be ideal. So going into this overwhelmed state of mind is not going to be helpful, right? We can't develop compassion and wisdom when we're overwhelmed ourselves. So that compassion is applied to ourselves too. We need to realize, when am I suffering, and what can I do to better help myself, which will then lead to helping others. So you feel that overwhelm, and then you take your foot off the gas, you go back into safety, and you let yourself be restful for a while. But that's just temporary, right? Then we can hopefully engage again in the difficult task that we have without being overwhelmed.
Something you said just now, Professor, triggered a question that I had. Why do you think that it's sometimes more difficult for us to be compassionate toward ourselves versus compassionate towards others?
That is an excellent question, a very good psychological question, because personally, I'm coming from, my family was Christian, so the idea of being a martyr and being self-sacrificial is extremely important. And I see that here in Korea too, whether you're Christian. Buddhism reminds us that compassion and wisdom is for all sentient beings, for all creatures. And you are a creature. You are a sentient being yourself. So including yourself in that is very important. As a matter of fact, to exclude yourself would be strange. It would be illogical, right? If it's for all sentient beings, then it's for you as well. Why is it so difficult was your question. I think we tend to push ourselves. We really think we don't know. We're perfectionists, many of us are, and we think too much is not enough. We keep go. The sort of Bali lifestyle that we tend to live in Korea and around. So it's just a habit. We live fast-paced lives. And I think without realizing it, we're just push, go. So yeah, if we can remind ourselves, there is a stage of overwhelm. Am I in it? That's the question.
Yes.
You can reflect and decide for yourself. And then, like I said, take your foot off the gas, and give yourself some rest, and then re-engage.
Right. Our next question is this. It's regarding peace. So some people want to know, what is the difference between like truly cultivating inner peace versus, some people might say, are you really cultivating inner peace, or are you trying to avoid reality?
Such a good question too, yeah.
What would you say?
The meditation practice itself is very pleasant, or at least it can be once you've developed it. And so it could be an attachment itself, right? The Buddhists teach non-attachment, but once you get this sort of pleasant experience, you become attached to it. You want to continue meditating in seclusion, or you want to continue to live in that safety zone, in that comfort bubble, which is very normal. But that's the first step is the cultivation, and then the second step, which we sometimes forget, is then to use the tools we have developed while practicing in the real world. So a great example of this is in Buddhism, there's the 10 ox herding pictures, or it's called the Shipbudo. So it's basically a story of a young boy who is suffering, and it chronicles his journey towards understanding his self. So you might expect the final stage to be enlightenment, but it's not. It's actually the market, or returning to the market. So he does reach this understanding of self, but the final stage is returning to the world and using those tools in a helpful way. Why develop compassion if you're not going to use it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed. So as we wrap up our discussion today, Professor, is there a particular last words, last teaching of Buddha that you want to share with particularly maybe our young people today who might be listening? Young people inundated with lots of work, whether it's schoolwork or the pressures of getting a job straight out of university or college. You know, it's a tough world that they live in, and I'm sure you work with young people as well as you teach them. What would you like to say, to share as your last words?
Well, I think perhaps the most important thing for me and for my students has been we've already discussed it a bit, is to what extent do I push myself? And to what extent is rest, is rest laziness, or has it become a wholesome practice, or is this overworking, is this challenge, or is this too much and I'm adding stress to my life? So I use the analogy of, and this is actually a Buddhist teaching, not mine, but an analogy of a stringed instrument. So I say a guitar. When you pluck the string, what does it sound like? Is it resonating well? Is it a beautiful sound? Are you making music, or is this string been tightened so much that it makes an ugly sound, or perhaps even snaps the string, or is it so loose that it makes no sound, or perhaps has an ugly sound? So can you tune the string of your guitar to be resonant with like a harmonious kind of note, some sort of beautiful music, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What a great analogy to leave us with. Thank you so much for sharing a bit of the teachings of Buddha as we celebrate his birth today. Thanks for joining us today, Professor.
Thank you for having me.
This was Professor Brian Summers, and we talked about, conflict, uncertainty, finding a little bit of that inner peace, and also what I took away from this special interview, being compassionate, not just to others, but also to yourself. This was our special interview. We're going to take a short song break. This is 생각을 멈추다 보면 by 최유리.
사랑한다 말하며 꿈에라도 나올 듯 서성이고 그래 어쩜 우린 서로를 사랑한 게 아니고 꾸미지 않은 모습아 사랑인가 이런 생각을 하다 보면 멈춘 후 보이는 날은 다 사랑이고 마음이며 그것은 다 자리에 있으니 아름다운 날 이런 여유로운 말은 자연스럽게도 멈춰진 생각에 뒤따라오는 사랑이 채워주는 하루야 나는 애써 굳은 생각을 다시 되돌아보며 아직은 멀었구나 사는구나 그래 어쩜 너는 나와 같은 생각을 하는지 그렇다면 우리는 사랑인가 그러니 이제 멈춰야 해 그때의 우리는 당연한 사랑이고 마음이며 앞날에
It's time for News in Depth. We have Claire back in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
How does it feel not waking up so early?
So good. The sun is up, right?
Well, thank you once again for filling in
Not a
last
problem.
week. Hey, real quick, text topic. Since it's Children's Day and, of course, Buddha's birthday, but for Children's Day, in light of that, favorite childhood memory?
We're talking with PD님 talking about.
Off-air, yeah.
Yeah. Remind me of something because my 외할머니 always packed 비닐봉지, in 비닐봉지 each 손자 손녀 그 과자 snacks for each one's taste.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
like different snack?
Yeah, I'm picky because I'm picky. I only eat certain snacks like potato and then like certain things. So because I only eat that, I only pack this for you. It's 검정 비닐봉다리.
But she knew each
Yeah,
grandchild's
she knew
tastes.
Yeah.
취향에 따라
Yeah.
그 간식을 따로따로 사주셨어요. That's super sweet. And by the way, maternal grandmother, that's your English word, 외할머니예요
외할머니, yes.
for today. So, that is super sweet.
Yes.
So, PD님 was telling us, 예지 PD님 was telling us off air, like how her grandfather, because like her parents didn't let her eat like fast food. 근데 할아버지가 몰래.
See, these grandparents love.
Are so bad. I have the worst story though. I might have told this story. I don't remember. You know the Golden Arches, that hamburger franchise. I didn't know until junior high school that they sold hamburgers.
Junior high.
Yeah, and I lived in California since I was a baby, since I was 3, because my mom would only bring home, technically I guess it's a burger. But they don't have it in Korea. It's a fish burger.
With fish.
Filet-o thing. It's in a sky blue packaging. I didn't even know they had hamburgers until like junior high, because this is before like internet and all that. And then I went into junior high. My kids were, my friends were talking about like quarter pound thing and like chicken Mc thing, and I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" Like, and then
it's fish place.
And then they looked at me like I was an alien. 외계인처럼 쳐다보는 거예요. I was like, "What are you talking about? It's like the fish place, right?"
Fish place.
The betrayal. 저 여태까지 그게 fish burger인 줄 알았어요. 아니에요. My mother. All right. We're going to get serious now. Yes. All right. News in depth. So, what do you have for us today? Because there's a lot going on. We have the upcoming presidential election. I believe that's where we're going to start with, right?
Yes.
Yes. So,
really meaningful mixed day and quite fitting for the occasion. So let's get right into it.
Yes.
So first one, this year's vote, the election, snap election, it's irregular this year.
Right.
This year's vote on Tuesday, June 3rd, because it's a snap election held early due to the impeachment of the President Yoon Suk-yeol, former President Yoon Suk-yeol. That alone already makes it unique, but even more unusual is the timing.
Yes, if I remember correctly, usually held on a Wednesday, but this time it's a Tuesday, and it's like smack between like a Sunday and then a national holiday, so it falls on a Tuesday. It's really weird,
Exactly.
right?
June 3rd falls between Sunday the 1st and Memorial Day on the 6th. And to bridge the gap, the government has declared it a temporary holiday, which means for those who take Monday off, you could have a 4-day break.
Right. So for some people, not us. Some people, it sounds like a mini vacation waiting to happen.
It does, and that's exactly the concern.
Yes.
Some election watchers are worried that people might leave town instead of showing up at the polls, especially working professionals or younger voters who might prioritize rest over ballots.
Indeed, but isn't it also possible that the stakes are high enough to keep like people engaged?
Yes, and that's the flip side. This election is happening during a time of strong political polarization.
Sure.
So there's a belief that voters, especially core supporters on both sides, might be even more energized to cast their vote. Some analysts are predicting record high turnout, while others are bracing for a dip.
So let's talk about early voting. How does that factor in?
So early voting, 사전투표 runs from May 29th to May 30th, which is Thursday and Friday. That's another departure from the norm.
Yes.
Usually early voting includes a Saturday, which gives more flexibility to people with weekday jobs.
Yes, indeed. So this time, early voting is strictly for weekdays. Usually we see not so, right? Yes.
Right. So, and that could suppress turnout among younger, progressive-leaning voters who typically favor early voting. In the 2022 presidential election, for instance, early turnout reached 36.9%, but during the 2017 snap election, which also had weekday-only early voting, that number was down to just over 26.
Oh, so we're talking about 36.9 versus 26. That's kind of a big gap.
It is, and it's why parties are scrambling to energize their base and remind people to vote, not just on election day, but as early as possible.
Right, and so both major parties are kind of downplaying the idea that one side benefits more?
Officially, yes. Both the Democratic Party and the People Power Party are saying that turnout doesn't favor any one side, but political scientists disagree. For instance, Professor Shin Yul from Myeongji University pointed out that a 23% hardcore support base for Democratic Party could have a stronger impact in a low turnout election.
Well, the Election Commission is working to boost public trust too, I hear.
They're going all out.
Yes.
They promised to release early voting data by hour and by location instead of just broad regional summaries. They're also creating a new Fair Election Observers group made up of academics, civic leaders, and volunteers to monitor the process in real time.
Yes. And so let's talk about key deadlines. Isn't there one today or right around today?
Close, but the important deadline actually passed yesterday. Under Korean election law. Anyone with a public or government-affiliated job who wants to run for president must resign at least 30 days before election day. Since the vote is on June 3rd, that made May 4th yesterday the cutoff.
Okay. So yesterday was kind of the day you had to draw the line in the sand, right?
Exactly. And it's always a moment to watch. It gives us a clearer idea of who's seriously entering the race. Now that the deadline's passed, the field of candidates is starting to take shape.
Yes, and the campaigning officially starts on the 12th. Is that correct?
Yes, from May 12th to June 2nd, candidates can hit the road, give speeches, appear on TV, and try to win over voters. There will also be 3 major televised debates for top candidates on May 18th, 23rd, and 27th, covering the economy, social issues, and politics.
Oh, so that means this upcoming month, it's going to be a whirlwind and very loud, it usually is for presidential elections, right?
We're in the calm before the storm.
Absolutely. All right, so now we're going to turn our attention to the business world. This past weekend, we saw the end of an era. We're talking about Warren Buffett. I mean, everybody knows his name. One of the world's most respected investors is stepping down as CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, right?
Yes, after nearly 60 years at the helm, Buffett is finally retiring, and he's named Greg Abel as his successor.
Okay.
He made the announcement during the company's annual shareholder meeting in Omaha, Nebraska on Saturday, May 3rd.
So this person, Greg Abel, so most people had assumed that he would eventually, take over, right?
He was, but most people assumed it wouldn't happen until after Buffett passed away. Buffett had previously said he had no plans to step down. So last weekend's news was a surprise, even though Abel had been widely seen as the heir apparent since 2021.
So who exactly is Greg Abel? Because he may not be a household name.
Not yet, but that might change soon. He's a Canadian businessman from Edmonton, grew up in a working-class neighborhood, and did jobs like collecting bottles and refilling fire extinguishers when he was a teen. A real self-made executive.
So what's his background professionally? Because that was when he was younger, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. So he studied accounting, worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and later joined an energy company called Coal Energy, which Berkshire acquired. retired.
Yes.
He eventually became CEO of Mid-American Energy and from there rose through Berkshire's ranks. In 2018, he was promoted to vice chairman, overseeing all the group's non-insurance businesses.
Yes, yes. So he's been managing a big piece of business, right? The company.
He handled the utilities, manufacturing, and retail arms and has earned a reputation for being disciplined, low-key, and business savvy. The Associated Press said he has a knack of understanding complex businesses across different industries.
Well, things that you said about him right now, like discipline, low-key, and business savvy, kind of reminds me of some attributes of Buffett because like he was also low-key, living in a humble home and etc. So the big question is this: will he be able to fill his shoes though?
That's a big question.
Right.
Even Buffett admitted that no one can truly replace him. That's true, yes. And Berkshire is now so big that it's harder to achieve the kinds of high returns that made Buffett famous. But Abel is considered one of the best possible successes, and Buffett said he expects the board to approve him unanimously.
Oh, so the end of one long chapter, the beginning of another, right?
Exactly.
All right. Thank you for sharing that story. Moving on to, I believe, our next story and maybe our final one. It is obviously Children's Day here in Korea, but there is a sobering headline along with the celebrations, new data that shows the number of children being treated for mental health issues has more than doubled in the past 4 years.
Yes, the number comes from the Health Insurance Review and Assessment Service, and they're striking. Between 2020 and 2023, the number of children under 18 who visited the psychiatric clinic jumped from 133,000 to over 270,000.
That is a huge increase in a short time. So
it really is, and the biggest spike is among elementary school age children, especially boys aged 7 to 12. For example, boys in that age group more than doubled, and girls saw a 2.4 times increase.
Indeed, indeed. So, we are running out of time. So, in a nutshell, what kind of diagnoses are we going to be talking about right here?
The most common include depressive episodes, anxiety disorders, hyperactivity, and other mood-related conditions. Experts say academic stress, isolation, social pressure, and even digital device exposure are contributing factors.
Yes, yes. And the thing is this, we do have a special interview. We're going to take a closer look at this topic tomorrow on children's mental health issues. So stay tuned for that. It goes hand in hand with what you just mentioned. So thank you so much for bringing all the news to our listeners. And I wish you a happy Children's Day.
Yes, happy double holiday.
Everybody, this was Claire. And to you, the listeners out there, I don't know what you have planned for the rest of the day, whether it's going to a temple, whether it is going to enjoy some time with your loved ones, your little ones. A little bit of tiny bit of advice, if I may, is I don't think it really matters how much money you spend on your little ones. It's really the quality of time, the memories that you can make with them. So, they might agitate you, but, today of all days, let's be patient if we can. So have a wonderful day. And we're going to end it with this one. Here it is. Come and Get Your Love. This is by Redbone. Enjoy. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.